June 23rd. Evening Devotion. Then came Peter to him, and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Until 7 times? Jesus says unto him, I say not unto you, until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Matthew 18 verses 21 to 22. If there is a single exercise of divine grace in which, more than in any other, the believer resembles God, it is this. God's love to man is exhibited in one great and glorious manifestation, and a single word expresses it, forgiveness. In nothing has he so gloriously revealed himself as in the exercise of this divine prerogative. Nowhere does he appear so like himself as here. He forgives sin, and the pardon of sin involves the bestowment of every other blessing. How often are believers called upon thus to imitate God, and how like him in spirit, in affection, and in action do they appear, when, with true greatness of soul and with lofty magnanimity of mind, they fling from their hearts and efface from their memories all traces of the offense that has been given and of the injury that has been received. How affecting and illustrious the example of the expiring Redeemer! At the moment that his deepest wound was inflicted, as if blotting out the sin and its remembrance with the very blood that it shed, he prayed, as the last drop fell, and as the last breath departed, Father, forgive them. How fully and fearfully might he have avenged himself at that moment! A stronger than Samson hung upon the cross, and as he bowed his human nature and gave up the spirit, he could as easily have bowed the pillars of the universe, burying his murderers beneath its ruins. But no, he was too great for this. His strength should be on the side of mercy. His revenge should wreak itself in compassion. He would heap coals of fire upon their heads. He would overcome and conquer their evil, but he would overcome and conquer it with good. Father, forgive them. It is in the constant view of this forgiveness that the followers of Christ desire, on all occasions of offense given, whether real or imaginary, to forgive those who trespass against them. Themselves the subjects of a greater and diviner forgiveness, they would be prompt to exercise the same holy feeling towards an offending brother. In the remembrance of the 10,000 talents from whose payment his Lord has released him, he will not hesitate to cancel the 100 pence owing to him by his fellow servant. Where, then, will you find any exercise of brotherly love more godlike and divine than this? In its immediate tender, its greatest sweetness and richest charm appear. The longer it is delayed, the more difficult becomes the duty. The imagination is allowed to dwell upon, and the mind to brood over, a slight offense received, perhaps never intended, until it has increased to such magnitude as almost to extend, in the eye of the aggrieved party, beyond the limit of forgiveness. And then follows an endless train of evils. The wound festers and inflames. The breach widens. Coldness is manifested. Malice is cherished. Every word, look, and act is misinterpreted. The molehill grows into a mountain. The little rivulet swells into an ocean, until happiness and peace retire from scenes so uncongenial, and from hearts so full of all hatred and strife. But how lovely in its appearance, and how pleasurable in the feelings it enkindles, is a prompt exercise of Christian forgiveness. Before the imagination has had time to distort, or the wound to fester, or ill-minded people to interfere, Christian love has triumphed, and all is forgiven. How full of meaning is our blessed Lord's teaching on this point of Christian duty in our motto. It behooves us prayerfully and constantly to ponder his word. True love has no limits to its forgiveness. If it observes in the bosom of the offender the faintest marks of regret, of contrition, and of return. Like him from whose heart it comes, it is ready to forgive, even until 70 times 7. Oh, who can tell the debt we owe to his repeated, perpetual forgiveness? And shall I refuse to be reconciled to my brother? Shall I withhold from him the hand of love, and let the sun go down upon my wrath? Because he has trampled upon me, who have so often acknowledged myself the chief of sinners, because he has slighted my self-importance, or has wounded my pride, or has grieved my too sensitive spirit, or, it is possible, without just cause, has uttered hard speeches, and has lifted up his heel against me. Shall I keep alive the embers of an unforgiving spirit in my heart? Or rather, shall I heap coals of fire upon his head, not to consume him with wrath, but to overcome him with love? How has God my Father, how has Jesus my Redeemer, my friend, dealt with me? Even so will I deal with my offending brother. I will not even wait until he comes and acknowledges his fault. I will go to him and tell him that at the mercy seat, beneath the cross, with my eye upon the loving, forgiving heart of God, I have resolved to forgive all and will forget all.